Howdy folks, Black Swan Revelations here, and today I'm going to prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that there is a pre-tribulation rapture. Now, I've been getting a lot of heat from not so much Joel Richardson from FAI Studios, but just more trying to rein me in a little bit with my pre-tribulation talk. And then same thing with one of the brothers that works with him, Doubting Thomas. They've been calling me basically just saying that I've been preaching lies, if you will. And then what I'm doing is actually pacifying people. I'm comforting people. That's what pacifying means. It means you're actually sharing something with people that comforts them. And they're telling me to stop doing that. Basically. Just, it's in the comments on the videos that I made, just going against their post-tribulation, pre-wrath. I guess that's mid-trib. It's either mid or post. One of those. Anyways, what I want to do is just kind of run you through the Bible real quick. Just off the cuff, if you will. And paint a picture of why I believe that that there is a pre-trib rapture. So, bear with me. My voice is a little bit parched. I was at a men's barbecue last night, so talking a lot with my friends. And we had about 75 guys out, so that was pretty good. That was pretty fantastic. So, a little tired this morning. I got sent out to go get the coffee. My wife's still in bed right now, and so I'm gonna, after I'm done this video, I'm gonna get some Java from Tim Hortons, and then head back home and start reading. But I want to just share this with you. So if you're interested in the pre-tribulation rapture and why I believe what I believe, hopefully this will make sense to you, and then you can go from there and do your due diligence and your research and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. So we have Genesis, and I'm not going to spend hours on this, but I'll just kind of skim real quick. My goal is to make this like 10 minutes, all right? So bear with me. All right, so we got Genesis. We have the greatest trap set up in the universe, and that's God trapping the devil. Because as soon as the devil seduced, enticed, beguiled Eve, God pronounced judgment right away. He pronounced something that was going to happen in the future. And if you know anything about God, he tells you the end from the beginning. So right out of the gate, we see that the serpent is pronounced judgment. He has judgment pronounced on him. So the seed, Eve's seed, is going to crush his head. Crush it like a little bug. Crush it. Crush like a bug. And then the devil's going to strike at its heel, which is interesting. All right. So that takes care of Genesis. Then you get the 5 books of Moses. You got Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. So basically, you get the promises through Abraham that God swears that one day, if he can count the sand, that they can count the dust, then that's the number of descendants he's going to get. And then what's interesting is he tells Abraham to look up into heaven, and if he can count the stars, That's how many descendants he's going to have, as numerous as the stars. And this is why we, the church, were created by Jesus Christ himself. And this was kept secret before the foundation of the world, because he's restoring heaven as well, and he's using us to restore heaven. He has rooms for us in heaven. And a room is basically a place of leadership, a place of authority, if you will. One day we will be judging angels. Why? Because angels don't know everything. We have the Holy Spirit in us. And one day we're going to be judging angels. So, the promise is made to Abraham through faith, by faith, if you will. And Abraham, even though he was old, accepted this. He accepted it. He didn't waver in his faith because of how old he was or how old his wife Sarah was. And he believed. And that was accounted to him for righteousness, simply because he believed. And this is what we Christians tap into. We can tap into that belief system, if you will, without the law. Why? Because we are without the law. Meaning, if I walk into Tim Hortons, I am inside the Tim Hortons. If I walk outside the Tim Hortons, I am without the Tim Hortons. It's not like I'm leaving Tim Hortons on the side of a curb. It's I'm outside Tim Hortons looking in, wishing I had a coffee. So that's what without means. So Gentiles are without the law. We didn't get invited to the party at Mount Sinai. The Israelites did, and they were seconds. Get me here, get this. They were seconds from entering into the promised land. Seconds. All they had to do was just send out some spies to scope out the land, check out how high the walls were and all this kind of good stuff. And they are going in, my friends, all of them. Why? Because God wanted to dwell with them on earth at that moment in time. So they were seconds from eternity. Seconds. Israel was seconds from being the light to all the nations. They were there. Their elders actually got to see God face to face. They went up into the mountain, and everywhere they looked, the ground was almost like emerald. It was like paved, some type of sapphire or something, some kind of emerald ground, that it was just so smooth. And they got to sit there. And then Moses went up to begin to write the 10 Commandments with the finger of God. So God was writing the 10 Commandments for them. And that's it. That was their laws. I'm seeing my videos getting long here, but maybe I'll have to make it into a part 2. So you get the 10 Commandments. That's it for Israel. And you're going into the promised land. So there's your rules. There's your regulations. There's your ordinances and everything like that. And that's it. You're in. You are in. Shane, you mean there was no sacrifices at the beginning? Nope. No sacrifices. Moses said in Deuteronomy, it was easy. God's laws are not hard. They're easy. But through the stiffening of their necks, as they were approaching God, they heard thunderings and lightnings, and they were getting closer, and God was coming down to get closer to them. He wanted to be with them. And as they approached the mountain, they realized quickly that maybe some of them weren't sanctified. Some of them weren't ready for God to come down. So they asked Moses if he could do them one little tiny favor. Teeny little tiny favor, Moses. Could you do me a little tiny favor, please, for me? He's like, what is that favor? Could you talk to God for us? Could you do that for us? Because we're scared we're all going to get wiped off this planet. So Moses approaches God. And God said, this is a good thing. Because, yeah, probably some of them I'd wipe out. Some of the priests that came from Egypt that still worshipped idols and all this kind of stuff. And if they cross that boundary, they're done. They're done. Done like dinner. So God said, I am going to teach you, and you'll be like a god to them. And you're going to teach them everything, all my commandments, all my ordinances, and everything like this. And here's the 10 commandments, and this is kind of the beginning. So as Moses begins to walk down, Joshua is with him. And he says it kind of seems like that there is a cry of war going on in the camp. And Moses is like, that's not a cry of war. That's a cry of celebration. Moaning. Why? Because they were having sexual orgies. Yeah, it's horrible. They were all naked, the ones that participated. Not all of Israel, but a lot of them got butt naked and started having orgies, and they're moaning and groaning and cheering and laughing and all kinds of stuff. So Moses, and I'm gonna make this video. I'm gonna make this video into a 2 or 3-parter, because now we get Moses going down, and he grinds up, he shatters the 10 commandments, breaks them. And then he takes the golden altar, grinds it up into dust. He grinds the bull into dust, foreshadowing the devil's demise. The devil will be ground into dust. Literally, he's going to become ash one day in the future. So Moses grinds it up, pours it into the river, makes the world's first Slurpee, the first big gulp. He makes all those that sinned drink it. Drink up. You want this? Drink it. Drink the dust of the earth, the dust from this golden calf, if you will. You drink it, and until this stuff pours out of your nose. And then Moses went back up another 40 days. So 80 days and nights without food or water. Why? Because God is his provision. So we're just basically getting through the first 5 books of the Bible, and we haven't got to the good stuff yet. This is just the beginning. So Moses goes up and starts writing, and then he says, you know what? We're going to prepare a tabernacle as well. And I believe that was actually middle of Exodus somewhere, where basically he's saying, build a tabernacle, but I need you to give me some of the wealth from the Egyptians, because the Egyptians gave you wealth when you spoiled them, when you fled out of Egypt. So they gave Moses everything to build the tabernacle, and they gave him everything that they needed and more, to the point where Moses had to tell the people to stop, because all the cunning craftsmen that were to do the work, they said, we have more than enough, we have ample. Stop giving to us. So then Moses begins writing about, some people think this is the most boring part of Exodus, and they kind of skip over it, the building of the tabernacle, which is a foreshadow of the tabernacle in the future, or in heaven, I should say. So that's it for this video. If you like this kind of thing, let me know. I will continue this series, and just you wait till we get to the book of Esther. It'll be it'll blow your mind. Your heads will literally blow up off your neck, because Esther is a foreshadowing of the rapture, and I'm going to explain it. There's lots of, I should say, the church, and the church is going to be raptured, and it's going to be a secret. Now I'm going to explain why it's a secret, but you have to watch you have to watch this video probably again. So I need some coffee, because my voice is killing me right now. I need water too. I should probably get some water. Anyways, I hope you got something out of this so far. I can go on all day about this, and I just want you guys to know that Jesus Christ loves you, and he has a plan for you. It's not a plan for wrath. He's not going to torture us. If you just think about the king when he held out that scepter to Esther, and she bowed herself before him because her people were on the verge of becoming extinct. And the king basically said, what do you want me to do? And she prepared a banquet and all kinds of stuff. There's so many similarities to us being in heaven, getting ready to come back down to earth to present, to be revealed as the entire bride of Christ coming down to earth one day. And it's all in the book of Revelation, but if you're trying to find the rapture in the Gospels, is going to be pretty difficult, because the Gospels were talking about the life of Jesus Christ. They weren't teaching us doctrine as Christians. And I'll dive into that a little bit in another video, but hopefully you got something out of this. It's going to get exciting. You know, what's funny is, before I wrap this up, I have Chat GPT on my phone, and sometimes I do quick researches and all this kind of stuff. And I asked Chat GPT, I said, how many judges are there in the book of Judges? And they said 12. For sure, there's debatable that there's more than that, but for sure 12 judges. And I said, oh, okay, that's interesting. I said, what? And they listed it all out. ChatGPT listed it, the smartest thing on the planet, that knows everything, all knowing, all seeing. Said there were 12 judges, and then showed me the list of all the judges, Deborah and everyone. And I'm like, oh, hey, ChatGPT, where's Samson? Where's Samson? From the tribe of Dan. Why is Samson hidden? Why are you not showing me Samson? Because he's from the tribe of Dan. And ChatGPT said to me, oh, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I missed that. Thank you. You are correct. Samson is the 13th judge. Interesting how ChatGPT purposely hid Samson from me when I was wanting to know this. And what's interesting is the tribe of Dan is not mentioned, sealed under the 12 tribes in the book of Revelation. Dan is not there, and I believe Ephraim is not there as well, which is interesting, because then, is that maybe where the Antichrist is coming from? Because if the Antichrist comes on the world, I think the Jews got to accept him as being a Jew. I think so, because if he's the Antichrist, they got to kind of speak the same language. And he's probably going to help them build a temple. He's probably going to help finance it, just like King Herod financed the temple. And King Cyrus sent everyone back out to rebuild the temple, the second temple, if you will. Anyways, that's enough for this video. Hopefully you got something out of it. And if you like this kind of thing, talking about the rapture, man, I can go deep. We'll see you in another video. Don't forget to leave a comment, subscribe, and love you guys. See you later. Bye for now.